Every night in high school, I would wash my face and feel ashamed. All the foundation, concealer, and bright eyeshadow I used to distract from my acne would come off. And that's the reality. I would see the breakouts, the scars, and the redness. And every morning, I'd cover it all up again, hoping no one would notice. And I see women doing the same thing with their finances. I see women spend money to look rich instead of becoming rich. And the thing is, if that sounds like you, here's the not so secret. I used to be you. I relied on my credit cards and bought designer purses and leased a car I could barely afford. In other words, I used to put on very real makeup in high school, and I would put on some very real financial makeup in my early professional years to hide what was really going on underneath. Today, I'm sharing my confessional story because most women, myself included, don't realize the one big mistake they're making with their money. I certainly didn't realize what that mistake was either until it cost me thousands. So, grab yourself a cup of coffee and let's catch up on today's episode of Lady Boss of Finance. I love makeup. I love how it gives instant results. You put on foundation, a little bronzer, some mascara for the eyes, and bam! Your skin looks flawless. Skincare, on the other hand, she takes time. She takes consistency. And I hate having be patient with skincare. Hate it. So my mom and I actually joke around with this topic because I was supposed to be born in September, but I arrived early in August. And she would always say I was in a rush to get moving with life. So believe me when I say I love quick results with makeup. But here's what I've learned the hard way. If you want real, lasting results, makeup can only do so much. A great skincare routine, one that fixes the underlying problem, often which has a nutritional or a dietary component, that's what really changes everything. And the same applies to money. Let me explain. Most of us girlies treat finances like makeup. We do what makes us look successful instead of what actually builds success. We swipe credit cards for a treat yourself moment. We buy purses to impress, and we focus on what's visible. But just like good skincare starts beneath the surface, real financial success, it happens where no one can see. And I'm not using the royal we here when I say this. I include myself in that we because it's a lesson I learned the hard way. Let's rewind not just a few years back, but all the way back to high school, when I thought the key to success and to confidence was a full coverage foundation, a heavily shadowed eye, and a perfectly blended contour. But underneath it all, I was desperately trying to hide something I didn't want anyone else to see. Senior year of high school should have been amazing. And in some ways, don't get me wrong, in some ways it was. I was that straight A student, totally obsessed with getting into college like Rory and Gilmore Girls. But while I was dreaming about my future, my daily reality, man, it was absolute acne hell. It wasn't 100% like cystic acne, but bad enough that I dreaded anyone seeing me without makeup. So I did what most of us do when we want a quick fix. I spent all my money from my part-time Stater Brothers courtesy clerk job on expensive Bare Minerals foundations, full coverage concealers, and dramatic eyeshadow to shift attention away from my skin and towards these blue eyes right here. It made me look better in a way, but underneath, nothing was actually improving. Money lesson number 1. Makeup is lifestyle inflation. We do the same thing with money. You get a raise, and instead of investing, maybe, you upgrade your lifestyle. You lease a fancier car. You buy a designer bag or 2, no judgment right here, because let me tell you, I have another video about that confession story with my purse. So check it out, link in the description. Yes, you look richer, but your actual finances, still the same, maybe even a little worse because of all that money spent. And just like my skin wasn't actually getting better while I was spending on more expensive makeup brands. After 1 year of this, I hit my limit. You know what I'm talking about. It's hitting that Tony Robbins moment.
Because we can't possibly change unless we get ourselves disturbed enough that we're gonna do something about it. What it really means is get honest with yourself. Don't use any softeners, don't use any rationalizations, don't compare yourself to other people so you can feel okay.
And you know the moment. It's a toxic relationship, it's a bad situation, you're like, no more, that's it, I'm done, you get disturbed. So instead of wasting all this money on lotions and potions, I saved up my money and I went to a dermatologist. She recommended IPL laser treatments to fix not just my acne at this point, but the scarring. It wasn't cheap. It ain't cheap. And man, it was not comfortable, especially when my face peeled for days. If I hated seeing myself without makeup before, imagine me walking around looking sunburned, flaking, and unable to wear concealer. But I did it. Money lesson number 2. Laser treatments are like real financial investments. That IPL laser treatment and the price of a no insurance visit to see a professional instead of trusting a blog or a website, that's like investing in your financial future. It's the difference between actually funding your 401k or 401k versus telling yourself, oh, you should do it, you should invest in it someday. It's uncomfortable, it takes time, but it actually fixes the problem. The crazy part happened. I looked in the mirror after my first IPL session and my acne was still there. With the tabletop flipping moment, I felt scammed. I was furious. What did I do? I marched back. I went back to my dermatologist ready to go full Karen mode. And you know what she said? One treatment isn't going to be enough. One treatment, one session was what you wanted to pay, not what was actually needed for the results. Money lesson number 3. Investing once isn't done. So many women make this mistake with money. We think we're doing the right thing. We put money into our 401k once, maybe buy some stocks or Bitcoin once, and then we stop. Real wealth, though, just like real skin transformation, it comes from consistency. Flash forward to college at Wesleyan. No, not Wesley, that's the all-women's college. I'm talking about the liberal arts one in Connecticut. My acne was better, but I still had breakouts. And then, one morning at 4 a.m., I woke up. It was the worst pain in my life. Left side. Couldn't even drive to the ER. Campus safety had to take me. Turns out, kidney stone. fucking might as well have been an alien inside of me because that's exactly how it felt. The doctor, oh, that doctor, not even cute. He asked me about my diet. And it turns out I was eating too much processed food, not drinking enough water. And let me tell you, when you've experienced that level of pain, you learn real quick. Money lesson number 4. The real glow up is fixing the root cause. My acne was never just about my skin. It was about what I was putting into my body. And for most women, financial stress isn't about making more money. It's a component, 100%, but it's about spending habits. It's about the mindset. It's about not having a savings plan. It's about the emotional relationship we have with money. Fixing those things, man, everything else gets easier. So how can you start your own financial skincare routine for your ultimate glow up? Well, glad you asked. Pro tip number 1, start paying yourself first. And I'm not talking about a shopping splurge. I mean automating a small percentage of your paycheck into savings or investments. Think of it like your, financial SPF 30 sunscreen. It protects you before anything else touches your money. Because let's be real, future you, we know. Present you, we know. Past you, I just told you about past me. But future you does not want to be a dried up raisin just because past you forgot to put on some sunscreen. Or save for emergencies. Wrinkles and financial regrets? Both preventable. Pro tip number 2, track your financial makeup spending. For the next 3 months, just don't do it, just look at your purchases. How much of those purchases were just for show? Just to look successful or impress others. Maybe it's a designer bag. Maybe it's a Whole Foods tote you bring to work because it makes you feel better when you put your homemade lunch in it and it makes it feel premium. No need to cut all of what I'm saying. No need to cut it all. But if you do, major brownie points. All I'm saying is for 3 months, observe, acknowledge, and just see how you're spending money on the makeup of your financial life. Pro tip number 3, commit to a coffee budget long-term plan. Just like skincare, investing works best when it's consistent and simple. If you don't know where to start, increase your 401k contributions just by 1%. Just 1%. Takes 1% to become the 1%. And the money, it comes out pre-tax, and you get compound interest, which is like retinol for your net worth. More on that in a future video, so hit that like button and subscribe so you can be in the know when that video comes out. What's the big takeaway here? Most women, we treat money like makeup. We focus on what's visible, what feels good in the moment. And just like skincare, real financial success, it happens beneath the surface. And the hard part? If you do it right, that money never turns into stuff. Because wealth isn't about looking rich. It's about having real financial security and freedom. And that means you see a big number in a savings or investing account somewhere. Because the second you use it to buy stuff, you're exchanging wealth for a rich symbol. Let's flip that. And tell me, now that you've done pro tip number 2 and you've taken a peek, that inventory into your spending, what's just one thing in your budget that's just financial makeup? Drop it in the comments and let's start turning your money routine into a real financial glow up. And if this hit home for you, hit that like button and subscribe because we've got more to talk about in our next coffee chat here on Lady Boss of Finance. See you soon.